All right, so I've got a couple members of Ocean's End on the line, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a chance to introduce themselves.
Hey, my name is Will. I sing and I play guitar in Ocean's End.
And I'm Frank. I play guitar and do backing vocals in Ocean's End.
Excellent. So why don't each of you kind of take a turn kind of going into detail about, how you first got into music and what about it was inspiring to you?
Well, when I was, being an angsty little teenage shit, of course, I was always grounded and in trouble and everything. And, so then I got a guitar for Christmas and learned how to play that. And a lot of my big influences were like Blink 182 and Green Day and Taking Back Sunday. And that's where a lot of my big influence came from. Just turning on 97X and putting on the radio.
I got started way young, like when I was like 3 or 4. I had to sing in church because my mom made me, and from there it's just been like a lifelong journey in music, and I've loved it. But the biggest thing for me that was like the turning point, I went to a record store one day when I was real young, and the guy is like, "Hey man, have you ever heard of this band Norma Jean?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he starts playing it, and it just blew my mind that a band could be so heavy. And I was like, I have to do everything that this is.
Awesome. So, why don't you kind of each express, how you first got into your instrument, what made you choose that instrument, and, how you like to create with it?
For me, it was definitely, I guess, drawn towards guitar because that's kind of initially what I would pick out, when I'm just casually listening to music and everything. I would hear guitar lines, and that would be the first thing that stepped out to me. And I always, of course, heard like Zach Wild and them growing up and hearing them shredding and stuff. I'm like, man, that would be really cool to do that. And growing up, and I'm still trying to do that.
For me, my dad played guitar, and he tried to get me one when I was 9, and I hated the thing because it was way too big. Like, I'm a really short person. My dad got me this massive dreadnought, and I couldn't even play the stupid thing, so I hated it. And when I was 11, after I'd like said, I'm never playing guitar, this is dumb, I went to a battle of bands for my high school, and I was just so in love. And I came home and I was like, Dad, I need a guitar. I need an electric guitar. I got to be a rock star. And so I went and got like, some generic, super cheap, super Strat, and started playing like as much stuff as I could get my hands on. So I was like chowing through Green Day, My Chemical Romance, Muse, Taking Back Sunday, and then the heavy stuff too. At the time was like The Devil Wears Prada, Norma Jean. I don't know what's it. The number 12 Looks Like You. I have no idea why that stands out in my mind, but I remember like being really enthralled with them.
Awesome. So once you did have your influences set and the instruments that you wanted to play with, how many bands do you guys think you went to before you kind of ended up where you are now?
If you're talking about Will, how much time you got on this interview?
Oh my God, that's a loaded question.
Loaded question. Mm-hmm. I've been a few bands here and there, in and out. Okay. One of them was like a long stint in like about 10 years in a band before.
I wish I could say that. I have a really bad problem with like creativity in the sense of I dream up things in a whole bunch of different genres. So I have probably played in close to like 20 different bands. I'll get these ideas and I'll write stuff, and then they just spin off and they're their own thing. But I mean, growing up in like New Jersey, New York City, I played in a couple different bands there, and then I filled in quite a lot. And then in Florida, I've done kind of the same thing. I filled in a lot of stuff on the professional level, but then in terms of my own creative projects, I've definitely done about 4 or 5 things so far. So yeah, we have just an open tab at this point.
Okay. And do you guys kind of maintain your own individual projects that are kind of your solo projects along with like your main projects that you're working on, or are you just kind of solely committed?
So
yeah, I would like to think that maybe I do that, but I don't. It just, at this point, it just all is like a big old dump truck right into Ocean's End. I'll be like, oh, hey, I had this idea. And they're like, oh, cool, what's in it? Ukulele. No. and then about like 2 or 3 weeks later, I'll come back and be like, I rewrote it on guitar. Okay, let's talk. Like,
Okay. Well, tell me a bit about how Ocean's End formed. How did you find it, and how are you guys doing now?
Well, our drummer Nick and James were already playing together, and they were at the time looking for a new guitar player. And I had just left the band I was in previously, like a year prior, and just got a message asking if and I was available to play or anything, or if I knew anybody. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to play in a pop punk style band. And I knew he was a great drummer at the time, so I was really excited to hop along. And then we got Will on board afterwards, and it's been smooth sailing ever since.
Yeah, Nick messaged me, and this is a while ago because he's like, "Hey man, I just got out of the army. I need to make some friends. Like, where can I find people to play with?" So I sent him a couple people I thought might be a good fit. And
Mhm.
then like a year or two later, he messaged me again. And he's like, "Hey man, you know any singers?" I'm like, "All right, quit playing games with me. Just ask it." He's like, "Okay, do you want to sing in our band?" I'm like, "That's what I thought. All right, let's do this."
Mhm.
So but yeah, it's been a fun ride. Nick kind of had this creative direction, and then he went and found people that he thought would be a good fit, and now we've kind of just taken off with it.
Okay, and how long has Ocean's End been together? I guess from its original inception.
Oh man,
Less than a year, probably.
I want to say, isn't it like something like 2019 they got
Yeah,
started? Yeah, so 2019 I think was
something
like
like
the
that.
original start, and
Mhm.
then with all four of us currently is like October of last year.
Okay, and so what kind of stuff are you guys working on now? Are you recording? Are you out there doing shows? What
we're
current?
we're doing we're doing all sorts of fun things. We're in the middle of recording our second single right now. We're playing a lot of shows.
Like a
We've
lot.
got like 25 on the books right now for the like through the end of the year, and I'm sure we'll add more. But yeah, we're working on our second single right now. And then we are also putting together an acoustic EP, which will be a lot of fun. And we just
Full on
started,
acoustic sets too.
yeah, full on acoustic set as well. We try to keep a good menu of things on tap. But yeah, we have that. Um, we're gonna start getting out a little bit further than our little home area of Tampa Bay. We just bought a trailer, so we've been getting ready to cruise out a little bit further. I know in the summer we're trying to do a little bit of mild touring, and then we'll see what goes from there. But and we're doing vinyl because the vinyl's hot right now. We're so excited that we found a guy who's going to press some vinyl for us, and that's like a real big accomplishment for me. I always think vinyl is just like super cool, so I'm excited for that one.
Sure, it sounds like you guys are super busy and have a lot going on.
I swear we spend more time in the studio than we do like doing anything that's actually important.
Hmm.
It's like every day I could go there and I'm gonna run into somebody who's
Sure.
just, oh yeah, man, I was just over here just noodling, and you want to jam, and then we end up jamming. So
Nice. So where do you guys want to see this project get to? 5, 10 years. What do you kind of hope for yourselves?
Oh God. I mean, of course, like anything, just ride the wave that we can. Take it as far as we can. I definitely love the prospect of playing out of state shows and doing some tours. That would be awesome. Of course, I'm selling some sick merch and having that available would be awesome to have as well. And
I want to go all the way. I like
yeah,
making
exactly.
I like cutting them checks, making the money. But I mean, I know it's more than that. I mean, like ultimately, I really want to make like super high quality songs that really kind of impact people, and hopefully because of that it elevates us to like really cool stages, really cool experiences. So
Cool. Well, why don't each of you kind of take a turn sharing a couple memories of, something really important that happened to you surrounding music, whether it be like a show you went to or a recording session?
um man, biggest thing for me, I went to the NAM convention in 2019,
Awesome.
and one of the coolest people I met there was the former drummer for Michael Jackson, Sugarfoot. And what an inspiration that dude was. And I mean, like really, really down to earth. And he kept it really simple. And the biggest thing that he said to me was, you need to be true to yourself as an artist. You know, despite what other people are doing, despite what other trends are out there and all that, he's like, you need to believe in what you're doing. Otherwise, nothing will sprout from it. And I was like, holy crap. Like
Mm-hmm.
this dude has been like everywhere and done it all with one of single-handedly the biggest names in music. And he's telling me, hey, you need to just be you and be proud of who that is. And I was like, you are, you know. So that really kind of changed my whole perspective on it. You know, for the longest time, I was trying to fit myself in these different boxes, these different categories, and I was like, you know, I can never write like that. I don't know why I can't, but and it wasn't really until I had that conversation with him, I was like, you know what? I need to stop fighting all of that and just let what's me speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like pivotal moments for me were probably going to just see some of the like biggest bands out there and seeing like I guess what you're hearing on like a record or something like that, and it's like you think that they're playing something just extremely fast or something like that, but it's just the way that someone is playing, the inflection that they're playing on that. So seeing bands like Black Label Society and just other bands like that live, it was cool to see that, you know, it's how they're playing something, not exactly what they're playing, how many notes you can fit into a song. And so, you know, capturing that and putting it towards our stuff, you can definitely see the relevance. You know, if you're playing something with a lot of emotion, it's going to generally captivate someone a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So where can people check out your stuff and listen to some Ocean's End?
Well, we made it super easy for you. All the handles everywhere are all the same. It's all Ocean's End Official, all one word. So pretty much on any social media or streaming, you should be able to find us that way. We're on literally everything: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all that good stuff. We got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. As much as I despise videos of myself, we're on TikTok. But yeah, we've got it all. And like I said, we're planning on putting a second single out there soon. Hopefully within the next couple weeks that will be available. And from there, we have so much more that's pretty much on tap to release throughout this year and next year. So you should be seeing a lot of cool tracks come out from us.
Awesome. And so I always like to give the people I'm interviewing the opportunity to just kind of put out a message. So, you know, what would both of you kind of say is something that you really resonate with?
For me, that, you know, music will follow you where you need to be and how you may have heard a song before, depending on what, you know, point in life you are. You know, it can sound and have a totally different meaning to you then. And music is also universal because you can have a totally different playing style and song style, but you may have heard the same song as someone else who has a totally different style than you. And it's cool to be able to, you know, connect on that same type of song.
I think for me, kind of comes back a little bit more towards like the lyrics that I write. And I think the biggest thing for me right now that I'm learning is, you know, conflict is an okay thing. You know, I'm not saying like violence is an okay thing, but conflict, like the disagreement of two minds, is an okay thing. But when it's conflict that has to do with, you know, someone who refuses to see you as an equal or see you as a partner or see you as a peer, and that conflict inside you grows and builds, and you know, it turns into anger, it turns into frustration, it turns into just like this rage, that is an okay thing, but you have to learn how to use it healthy. You have to use that conflict and that rage and that frustration and that anger to find solutions. So the biggest thing for me recently, you know, a theme that I'm vibing on is to take that rage and anger and frustration and use it as energy to go somewhere positive.